Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday, and good morning to everybody. Anyone I may have missed, I almost missed Mark. He was there early, and somehow, as everything was scrolling, I almost missed it. But good morning to everybody. Happy Monday. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Cheers to you. I've got my Pooh Bear mug this morning. It's kind of the way I'm feeling. And then it also says good morning sunshine. It's one of my favorite mugs, so I'm just going to use that one this morning. Hopefully you're having your morning coffee, or if it's a little bit later for you, although I say those of you kind of out in Europe, Allie was telling me that she has some author friends that are, where'd you say, Ireland, Portugal, and that I guess there's a big, their hair's going crazy, a power outage, you said, right? So if you happen to be somewhere where there's a power outage, then you're not watching this. But I see Jane's here, so maybe it's not where you are. So that's interesting. But for those of you that are with us, good morning. I don't have an appointment today at 10 o'clock, so I don't have to worry about rushing. Don't worry, I won't go past 10. But anyway, the first thing I have to do, though, and this is very important because Eric would be very upset if I did not make this the very first thing that we talked about. Hopefully the button will work, which is, good job, Lala, for getting it all done. Congratulations to Liverpool FC, the Premier League champions. Super excited. If you're not familiar, Eric and my boys love Liverpool. And Forrest, if you're here, I know you don't really chime in a lot, but as I recall, the story goes, we're a big soccer family, big football family. And Eric used to run it was Yorktown FC, was a soccer club, travel soccer. It was something that he did back in Virginia. It was a way to kind of help the local kids and families out. Your options were only a couple of places to play soccer, and it was travel soccer, and Rush was one of them. It was just really expensive, and not every family have the funds to do that. So he started a soccer club, fell in love with soccer. Boys love soccer. Boys played soccer. And then at some point, and again, Forrest, if you're here, chime in if I'm wrong, but I think that there was a period of time where Eric and the boys decided to pick a soccer club or football club, to pick a football club, make it their team. They didn't want to pick the best team. They didn't want to be that person. You get on the bandwagon when a team is doing well. They picked a team. They rode with them through the highs and the lows. And Liverpool was the team that they chose. There's no ties to Liverpool. There's no reason other than that was the team that they chose. And it has been their ride or die team for years and years and years. So the fact that Liverpool won the Premier League championship this year of all years is pretty amazing. And I know Eric would be super, super thrilled. And Shafiq was actually the one to let me know, because to be honest, I haven't paid a lot of attention to it. Normally, Eric would be watching the match with the boys, like texting them the whole time. I'd hear the yelling and the screaming upstairs, for whatever reason. But obviously, we're not hearing that. But Shafiq actually sent a message yesterday, and then I had to reach out to my son. I'm like, wait, did they just win? And he's like, they sure did. So happy about that. And one other little tidbit, which I find interesting. Let me see which phone I put it on. I think it was my other one. I have two phones, by the way. As you guys know, anyone that's ever seen me around knows I have two phones. Let me see if I have the second. Yes, here it is. Okay, so this picture, this was actually the picture of Eric in his, let me go this way. In his hospice room. And if you see right over here, it says, "You'll never walk alone." Chaplain Zach wrote that on there. Eric had a Liverpool blanket that Caroline gave him for Christmas, and he had that with him throughout those last couple of weeks. Just because the hospital, the blankets aren't that great, and it was nice and it was comfy and it wasn't super big, overly big. It was like kind of perfect size. So Eric had that, and when Chaplain Zach was in there with us and praying and talking to us and counseling us, he noticed the blanket, and he said, Liverpool's "You'll Never Walk Alone." We've talked about that before, right? Shafiq gave us that great sign that says YNWA. And Chaplain Zach had said, "You'll never walk alone." He's like, that's not by chance. That's the club he chose. And then He actually wrote on the little board that they have at the hospice center, and they have them in hospital rooms too. What's your pain level, and here's your nurse on duty, and here's your doctor, and all that stuff. And he wrote up there, "You'll never walk alone." So all very, very fitting today. So congratulations to Liverpool and to all of their fans. So, and I know everybody's super excited about that. And if you don't know, then just be excited because Eric will be really excited right now. Okay. On that note, we have a lot to talk about. So let's see if anyone else popped in that I wasn't, that Kim popped in. Good morning, Enchanted Nomads. Tracy, Daryl, good morning. Yes, Daryl says, good morning, gang. And yes, we were excited for Eric. Javon reminded me Liverpool is Eric's team. Indeed, indeed. So I know Eric is super excited about that. And I know the boys are excited about that. Now I have to figure out how I get championship jerseys or shirts or something. So I'll have to figure that out. I'll ask Shafiq. He'll know. Actually, Forrest gave me a link, I think. So anyway, so I hope you guys had a good weekend. We had a lot going on here. So I guess we'll just go ahead and get to our brewing topic, shall we? Oh, there it is. There's a little delay. Oops, sorry, doggy doggies. Okay, so welcome to chaos. Girls, it's enough. Okay, so our three topics today: agents abound, haggling for a house, and counter offer or reject. Okay, so three good topics for today. So the first one, what we're talking about is the different agents that, not so much that exist, because we kind of know that, but the different types of agents that you may experience when you were going to see a home. Because it sounds silly, but there's different agents, and sometimes people can get confused. All right, so what we're talking about here is, in most cases, I would say in 95% of the cases, well, maybe not 95%. I don't know what the percentage is, but in most cases, it is going to be the buyer agent that shows the home. So if you were a realtor, you've got some clients and they're looking to see some properties. You're probably going to set up a property search. You're going to determine the properties they want to see, create your showing request, create an itinerary, and then you're going to go show those homes. There are some scenarios where the listing agent is going to be at the home. You will typically see this for higher priced homes. Some doesn't really matter. Sometimes people are like, nope, I want the listing agent there. I always tell people the listing agent being present is not a bad thing, but it can make the buyer and the buyer's agent feel a bit awkward. So if the listing agent, so in my case, having had to be at some showings for some of my listings before, I always tell people, I'll meet you there. I'll give you a quick introduction, so a brief overview of the home, and then I'm going to step out and let you walk through the home. If you've got any questions, I'm here. Just because it can be a little off-putting, right? Because your relationship as a person looking to purchase a home is not with that listing agent; it's with your agent, your buyer agent, and so having the other person there can be off-putting. However, the listing agent is the one that knows the most about the house. They probably know more than the buyer agent does. The buyer agent may not even know anything about the area. And that does happen sometimes. I've had clients where the buyer was not from the area, right? They were out of town or out of state. The buyer's agent was not familiar with the area or the community or the builder or anything about that. And so it is helpful to have the listing agent's information and insight onto the property. So don't freak out if the listing agent is the one there. Again, sometimes it can make you feel a little awkward, but it's usually because the seller requests that the listing agent be present. It is not necessary, in my opinion, but it is okay. And again, you really will see this a lot when you have homes in some of the really dominant communities out in Windermere, some of the really, really, $2, $3, $4 million homes. They want that listing agent to be present. Sometimes you'll see that. The other type of an agent is a showing agent. Now, a showing agent is also a realtor, right? So they will probably be someone who is working either with or is a partner to, or is just in some way going to be assisting the buyer's agent. So let's just say, for instance, you have a buyer's agent. Your buyer agent is setting up all of the showings for you. You're having the conversation. You know what homes you're looking for. The property search goes out. You fix 5 or 6 or choose 5 or 6 homes that you want to go see in person. So then you get your buyer agent coordinates that. Well, sometimes that buyer agent on the day that you're coming in town, maybe the buyer agent has to be somewhere else, or maybe the buyer agent is not able to. And so they have a showing agent, and the showing agent is going to be able to provide access to the homes. That's really the goal, as Eric says, right? What are we trying to accomplish? We're trying to accomplish you getting into the house to see it, to see if it is going to stay on your short list of homes, if it's going to become your new home, or if it's going to go off the list because, oh my gosh, I had no idea it looked like that on the inside. So that's the goal. So there is a showing agent. A showing agent is a realtor. It doesn't mean they're not a listing agent. It doesn't mean they're not a buyer's agent. It just means in that particular situation, their role is going to be that of a showing agent. And so they're going to be assisting the buyer's agent or whomever it is and allowing you access into the home so that you can see it, answer those questions, and at that point, then you give that feedback to your buyer's agent, and then you'll go from there. But the main thing is to know that when you go to tour a property, you may be with your buyer's agent, you may be with a showing agent who's working with or on behalf of your buyer's agent, and or you may also then have a listing agent that is potentially present. So, what is your opinion on I guess having a listing agent there? Do you think you would, if you've ever encountered this? Do you feel like having the listing agent present at the house is helpful because they're able to answer questions? Do you feel like you're being super sold? Like, do you feel like they're really, targeting in and you feel a little bit more pressured? Is it off-putting to you, or does it really make no difference because as long as they're not hovering around you? I always like to ask that because, it's great feedback that I can provide to sellers. I don't often have, and here's the reality. My necklace is crooked. The reality is if you require, as a seller, if you require your agent to be present at every showing, not every showing is going to be able to be confirmed. Because your agent does not only work for you. Your agent is hopefully you've chosen an agent that's busy, right? And it is already difficult enough to coordinate a buyer's agent schedule with the client's schedule, with the seller's schedule, to get those 3 people coordinated to view a property if the home is occupied by the seller. If it's vacant, then that's easy breezy. But if it is owner occupied, then to get those 3 people's schedules coordinated can be a challenge. Throw into it a listing agent, it's going to be very, very, very difficult. So that's why, and again, there's no real advantage to the listing agent being there. It does depend on the property, like I said. But at any rate, just curious. I wonder if anybody, Pam says, First of all, Melody, you're so cute. Don't forget to like if you're watching. And you're so cute. Thank you very much. Pam, as long as they're not hovering, it makes no difference to me. Good. That's kind of what I think too. It's like if you just do a little meet and greet, hello, I'm here. I'm going to step aside. If you've got any questions, let me know. Dina agrees with Pam. Jane says, I'm not sure I could concentrate with them hovering around. If they don't hover, then I think probably okay, right? And then Gary, I had the listing agent during the inspection period. No matter what the problem, she stated it was no problem, including huge cracks in the wall. I was put off and canceled the contract. Interesting. Yeah, so you know what? On that note, Gary, that's a really good point. So let's talk, and this is not one of the topics, but let's talk about inspections. Because just as far as who is present during that inspection, it's a really good one, Gary. I might should save it for next week, but I'm just going to touch on it right now. So when you are the owner of a home and your home goes under contract, the buyer is going to have an inspection on the property. Of course they are. I mean, they could waive it if they wanted to, but most people don't. They'll have an inspection on the property. Now, during the inspection, which takes several hours, on average, I believe it's about an hour per 1,000 square feet. So if you've got a 4,000 or 5,000 square foot home, you can expect it to take about 5 hours. Because remember, the inspection is it's as involved as it can be, right? Now, who should be present at that inspection? Well, sometimes the buyer and the buyer's agent wants to be there. And if they want to be there, they have the right to be there. I have mixed feelings on that. First of all, it's whatever my client is most comfortable with is usually the way I go. However, it is not required that the buyer be there, partly because when you have the inspector's job, they know what they're doing. They are going through their home. They've got their paper or their iPad or whatever it is. They're going through, they're checking everything in a very choreographed pattern. They're snapping pictures. They're being very detail oriented, and they're making note of any issues. And then at the end of the inspection, in most cases, my suggestion is this. If you want to be there, first of all, whatever is going to make you comfortable, because it's a huge purchase and we want you to be happy. But it is not required, because what you can do for the inspector is say, we will not be present at the inspection, but if you could call us and let us know if there are any issues, or even better, we'll head over toward the end of the inspection just to meet up at the end with the inspector, and then they can walk us through if there's anything that they want to see. That's usually the best way to go. Now, as far as, sorry, there's a bug flying. As far as what Gary said, yeah, so sometimes the listing agent will have to provide access. Sometimes the buyer's agent provides access for the inspector to do their job. When the listing agent is present, that would be off-putting to me too, Gary, for the listing agent to offer their non-expert opinion on whether or not something that the inspector deems to be questionable is indeed questionable. That's why you're hiring the professional inspector. Anyway, so just food for thought. That was a good one, Gary. I'll hold on to that one. Dave Howell. Hi, Amy. Dave from Ocala. We watch you every Monday. Have a great day. We love Florida. I'm glad you like Florida. I like it too. It's really beautiful right now, right? The weather is just perfect. When we get into a little bit further, we had Elsie here yesterday with Dawson, my brain, with Easton, and we spent a little time just sitting on the lanai back there. It was just really nice. It was good weather. It wasn't too hot. I mean, it is hot, but it's not too hot. Although I think it's supposed to get really hot this week. So anyway, but good morning, everybody. Rob, you joined in. Hi, Rob. How are you doing? How are you feeling? All right, so let's go to our second brewing topic. I gotta put my glasses back on so I can see what I'm doing. The second one. Oopsie. The second one is haggling for a house. All right, we have talked about this before, but I don't, and again, I like to get your opinions on these. So today is going to be very interactive. I want you guys to chime in, even if you're watching this later on, because I know not everyone can watch it at 9 o'clock Eastern time. If you watch it later, comment in, because I really am curious. I'm curious about the listing agent being present. All right, what's happening with the hair? Amy, goodness. The listing agent being present, and now talking about haggling for a house. I am under the mindset. First of all, we're talking really big purchases, right? We're talking really, really, really expensive purchases. So I get that. But I don't always think that every home that you should always in your mind think, oh, they're asking this, we're going to come in under and we're going to ask this. I understand the mentality of that, but it is not always the correct mentality, because you should only potentially come in under if it's not priced well. Remember, if your goal is to secure the home, let your agent do their job and provide you the information and the comps to let you know that home is way overpriced, in which case, yes, we're going to come in lower, and this is why we're coming in lower. Or that home is really underpriced, and that is a great deal. You need to snatch it, and I would come in at full price and maybe even do what you need to do to secure it, to shut it down. Do you remember the week that we talked about the shut it down offer? That's important, because if something is priced really low and it just went on the market, then that means they're expecting a lot of people to kind of swarm to the property and potentially multiple offers. So that's where the shut it down offer may come in play. And sometimes when it is perfectly appropriately priced, wow, that was a mouthful, perfectly appropriately priced, then again, consider that in your offer. The thought process of a seller and a buyer going, well, if we're probably going to get this for it, we want to list it 20,000, 25,000 above that, so that when they come in lower, we're where we want to be. People aren't stupid. They know you did that. And if you are the other side of that equation and you're going to come in low, it is one of the most annoying things for me. It really is. The back and forth, the tedious back and forth for $5,000 over homes that are a $500,000 or more is tedious. The best thing to do, if you like a home and if your realtor has decided, hey, here's the comps, the home is priced really well, or under, or even if it's slightly over, if we're within a teeny tiny little ballpark, the best thing for you to do is go, well, instead of going down $5,000 or $10,000 in the price, which is minimal when it comes to a mortgage, maybe ask for that back in closing costs. And then that's real money. That's real money that you don't have to bring with you to closing. That is a far better use of any type of negotiation. But the haggling back and forth is probably my least favorite part. For instance, when I price my homes, every one of my listings, I price it where the data supports it. Now, I want you to get as much for your house as possible as well. But I say it all the time, and I sound like a broken record. My job is to tell you what you need to know, not what you want to hear. You want me to tell you, sure, I'll list your $400,000 home for $700,000. Sure, I'll do that because then I get the listing. That's stupid. You don't do that. I don't do that. My job is to help get your home sold. Now, remember, we talked about the head scratchers last week. Head scratchers still exist, but at least I know that I have the data to support the purchase price or the list price or the asking price that we have for the client. And I think that is really, really important. So you are interactive here. Are you of the person of the mindset where you're like, oh, absolutely, I want to list my home higher because I know they're going to come in lower? Keeping in mind, this is where you have to understand where I'm coming from. If the list price where we feel like it is going to sell is also where we feel like it will appraise, that's what the home is worth. If you decide you want to list $25,000 more than that, anybody that knows their business is going to know that that's a little bit overpriced. You may not even get the buyer to come out and see the property to begin with because it's overpriced, right? And if it's not going to appraise, or if we don't feel like we have the data to support that appraisal, what if we do get a buyer at that price? Now we have an appraisal issue down the way. So I don't know. I think I'm just all about being completely transparent and being as targeted in on correct pricing to begin with, and then maybe being a little bit more heavy-footed with sticking to that price. Now, again, I've got plenty of listings where we have to keep lowering the price because we're just not getting the foot traffic there. It has nothing to do with the home, and it has nothing to do with the price. It's just about who is out there looking to purchase. But I think it's just ingrained in our brain that when you go to a car dealership, you're going to offer them this and you're going to go back and forth. I got to go talk to my manager. All of that stuff is absolutely the most annoying thing to me ever. And I always say, when I go to Costco or when I go to Target or when I go to the store, if there's a price tag on something and that's what it's being sold for, that's what I assume I'm going to have to pay for that. And again, I know houses are different and I know the mindset is completely different, but I think it's getting a little bit ridiculous in my opinion. Anyway, so Jane says you need to make sure you know glasses on. You need to make sure you know the market very well and take your realtor's advice. Miss Amy. Well, yeah, I mean, maybe. Pam, when we sold our home in New Hampshire, we listed at a fair price and it sold over asking. See? There you go, Pam. That is the perfect example, and that is absolutely true. But now, Grateful Drifter, his question is, what if the house has been on the market for more than 6 months? Okay, so, and again, sometimes it's a head scratcher, right? Sometimes there's nothing wrong with your house, nothing wrong with the location, nothing wrong with the listing, the way the pictures represent the home. Nothing wrong with any of that. The price is good. That could very much just be an indication of the foot traffic and the market, and there's just not the buyers out there. So in those situations, maybe you do have to come back down a little bit, or maybe somebody is going to come in maybe a little bit lower because they see that it's been on the market for so long. That's a little bit of a different story, right? Because now we've got a little bit of an aged listing here, and that happens. But generally speaking, when a home doesn't sell in a relatively active market, it's for two reasons. Number one, it's the price, or number two, it's the condition of the home. So maybe it's got inspection issues and it needs a new roof and people just don't want to touch it. I don't have a lot of those because this area is really, we're not to the point where any of the homes are distressed yet and have issues. Sometimes I've had clients that need to get new roofs and things like that. But yeah, so an aged listing, yeah, maybe you need to reduce it a little bit. And yes, maybe if you're looking to buy a home that's been on the market for over 6 months, well, then it's a conversation. Hey, why has it been on the market so long? Have you had any offers? You can look back and see if it ever went pending. Did it go pending and then come right back on the market, maybe during the inspection period? Was there a reason that you lost that buyer? Was it inspection related? There's just so many reasons, and not every home buying or selling process is going to be the same. Everyone has their different their different variables that are going to be involved in it. But I mean, I don't think there's any way I'll ever get away from the majority of the mindset, which is, yes, we want to list it high or we want to come in with an offer low. I think that it's important to, for instance, I had someone, and this will actually go into our next topic. So let me just see if anybody popped up. Kim, we listed ours under and ended up getting it $100,000 over. Very good. And so here's the thing. This is where you also have to remember timing of the market, right? There was a time years ago where things were flying off the shelves. Remember the time when we were doing over asking, bridging appraisal gaps, things like that? That was a result of the market. And that's what homes were going for. And now we're in a little bit of a different time period. Where you live might be different from where we live. Where this person lives and over here could be having different experiences. But I don't think I'll ever be able to get away from the general public out there wanting to haggle prices. It's one of the most annoying things. Like it's literally, we have been in a situation where realtors and our buyers and sellers are squabbling over $1,000. It's like, why are we having this conversation over $1,000? In the grand scheme of things, that's nothing, and that should not be a reason to lose the deal on either side. So anyway, all right, let's go to the third topic because it ties right on in. Let's see if I did it full. Yes. Okay, good. Counter offer or reject. Okay. Before I get to this one, I want to see what Jane said. Jane said in England, it's generally accepted to come in under and then haggle. Sad but true. Very different in Scotland where they submit closed offers. What's a closed offer? I don't know. You'll have to tell me. You have to educate me. That's a term we don't have here. Anyway, all right. So our final brewing topic, counter offer or reject. Okay, so this is, I saw another realtor, different area. She does a lot of Instagram stuff. And somebody said, never reject an offer, always counter. But I disagree. And I think it depends on the offer. But when you have, and this is like a true life scenario. So I have had clients before as the listing agent. I've had a home priced really well, and then somebody will submit an offer and it's just so ridiculously low that we're out of the realm of a rational conversation. So a minute ago when we were talking about coming in low, I used the arbitrary number of 25,000. That was I just spit that out there. But let's just say you had a home listed at 800,000 and somebody comes in at 775. You're probably not going to reject that offer. You're probably going to counter because you're at least within a conversation, right? It wasn't insulting to come in at 775 for a home that was 800. Even if the home that's at 800 is still like priced extremely well, maybe even underpriced. Coming in at 775, okay, fine. Now you have to go that back and forth. They're going to expect you to meet in the middle, and then they're going to expect to go back again half in the middle. And it's tedious, drives me bonkers. But that's still within the realm of a conversation. However, let's say you have an $800,000 home, and somebody submits an offer for $600,000. Are you going to counter back if your home is priced appropriately to begin with, and somebody comes in $200,000 under asking? Are you going to counter that, or are you going to reject it? You're going to reject it. And keep in mind, just as an FYI, when an offer comes into you That is the buyer's offer. If you do not accept the buyer's offer as is, and you decide you do want to counter, that original offer is null and void. You've now countered their offer. Their offer now doesn't exist the way it originally did. So you're not gonna, that offer doesn't exist anymore. You countered it. So rejecting the offer is really just saying we're too far apart. This offer is unreasonable, and it just shows, as a listing agent, it shows me that either you as the buyer agent or you as the buyers don't have respect for the property or knowledge of the property and the value of it when you come in that low. That's just really unrealistic. So in my opinion, that's a reject of the offer, not worthy of a counter. If you come in a very reasonable margin under asking, then of course you're going to counter. Nobody wants to not sell their home if they've got their home on the market, right? The whole goal, what are we trying to accomplish, is to get it sold. But it's not going to behoove anyone when somebody comes in at kind of an insulting offer. That already puts a bad taste in that seller's mouth, as far as, well, why would I want to sell it to you if you don't value this home that I treasure, right? Because remember, and I say this, and I know not everybody agrees, I believe that for almost everybody, home sales and home purchases are emotional. Now, there are a lot of people out there that are not tied to their home. They don't have an emotional, it's a transaction to them. A home is a transactional process. I buy, I move in, it shelters me, I sell. I buy, I move in, it shelters me, I sell, I move on. And that's the way some people feel. But most people do not. Most people have some sort of an emotional connection. Maybe it's because it's your first home and that's where you and your spouse started your family. Maybe it's where your family grew and your children went off to prom and they went and they got married. Maybe it's that you downsized and it's a start of a new chapter. Maybe it's that your parents or your in-laws are moving in with you and that's a new thing. There is some emotion that is tied to home purchases and to home sales for almost everybody. And so when you come in, be thoughtful, and I guess that's probably the best way to say it. Be thoughtful about your decision and take heed to what your agent advises you. Now, I will say there are some agents out there that may advise you incorrectly, but I think most of them, if they are professional enough, they're going to do their due diligence. They're going to have some understanding of the market. And if they're not, then I would hope they would learn about that area. They would do a little bit more digging. And that listing agent is a wealth of knowledge to be able to provide and share with them that information, provide and share with them comps if the other agent's not able to find them. But I think that's really important to note that in most cases, you've got people that have some emotion tied to this on either side of that transaction, and it's not just transactional. And so when you come in with your offer, understand that, because when you submit something, the only time I laugh it off is investors. I mean, I cannot tell you like the number of investor offers that come in $200,000 under asking, and they're like, cash deal, close in 2 weeks, no inspection. Sure, but that's like less than Open Door would even pay for it. So no, thank you. Those are laughable. That's like, why did you even waste your time writing that offer? Because half the time it's verbal anyway. But keep that in mind that when you're submitting an offer, be thoughtful about it. If you're like, let's just come in 100 under asking and just see if we get it. If we don't, it's fine, we'll move on. Well, then you're not emotionally tied to it, but the seller is. And so you just have to kind of remember that. Anyway, okay, so moving on. Let me see what we got over here. My screen is, okay, what is happening with my hair today, y'all? Sorry. Yes, Pam says, all right, Jane, actually back to Jane where she said they submit closed offers. She says, to be honest, it's a mystery to me, but every person writes their offer and it is kept secret until all the offers are in. Then they are looked at simultaneously and the seller chooses. Okay, well, so that is kind of like, that is essentially a multiple offer situation for highest and best. And then all of those offers are then presented to the seller. So we do the same thing here sometimes. Like, let's say we underpriced a home intentionally just to kind of get some activity. And then we tell people all offers are due by Sunday at 5 p.m. Then that way, people that submit all the offers, everything comes in, and then we present those to the seller, and the seller can choose. So it's kind of the same. Okay. Pam says, if you give a lowball offer and it insults the seller, I can see them just rejecting the offer. Yeah, I mean, exactly. If it's too low to even have a rational conversation, you're never going to get somebody $200,000 under asking. You're never going to get them to where it needs to be. And the seller's like, I'm not going to waste my time trying. If you're that far away from reality, then maybe you're not the right buyer for the house. Grateful Drifter says, agreed. Kim says, some people's offers are so disrespectful. Yeah, they are, honestly. Susan says, Maddie hears Easton and is talking back to him. Easton. Hi, Bubba. Maddie is talking to you. Say hi to Maddie. Allie said, oh, hi, Maddie. That's so cute. Anyway, okay. So those were our brewing topics. I just think that's interesting. So if you're joining back in later, if you're watching later on, I want to know what your thoughts are about listing agent being there. I want to know your opinion on what was the other one that we had your opinion on? Can't remember now. The haggling. If you are the person who's like, yes, I want to list my home higher than what my realtor says I should, because I want to allow that buffer for the low offer to come in to ultimately be right where I wanted to be to begin with. Like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Are you that person? It's okay if you are. Almost all of my sellers are like that. Almost all of them. Not all of them, but almost all of them. It's just important to know. Shafiq joined in. Good morning, Shafiq. We had our little Liverpool moment here at the beginning. So anyway, all right, my friends. Well, let's move on to some of our other fun stuff for today. Let's see. Wishes. Okay, so busy week last week. I have to say this week is going to be a lot easier. Last week was, it wasn't super stressful. It was super exciting. We had 3 different closings last week. Here's 2 of them. The third one was Matt. We did not end up getting a picture of him, but love it when the clients, when they close on the property and they're super excited and super happy, and that journey it doesn't come to an end, but we accomplished what we set out to do. And now then the relationship just gets to continue with, now we're all neighbors. So anyway, so congratulations to our lovely families that closed on their properties. Super excited about all of that. And now let's move on. I know you guys, you hear the babies, so we're just going to do some baby stuff. Okay, so I told you yesterday that Elsie came over and she and Easton were playing. There's a picture, I guess Allie or Elizabeth took that one. So cute, Easton and Elsie. It's so adorable. They're both standing up and pulling up on the toys and taking their first couple of steps before they fall down. But super cute. Love it when they're together. Honestly, I do. It's just so adorable. They're both learning. Oh, wait, there's another baby, and Elsie's very cute. She'll crawl over to Easton and she'll try to stand up, but she'll put her weight on Easton to try to get herself to stand. And Easton doesn't really like that. So it was kind of cute just seeing them interact yesterday, but very cute picture. And then on that note, let's go to Cup. And then this past week, we also had a birthday. Can you guys, first of all, can you believe that little Easton is a year old already? That's insane, which means Elsie's birthday is right around the corner. But we celebrated Easton's birthday. He had his little birthday cake. He loved the icing. And then special thanks to our dear clients, friends, and neighbors who provided them with some Disney tickets. Elizabeth and Steele are going to take Elsie in a couple of weeks for her birthday. Provided them some tickets to Disney. I know you're laughing. You're like, Amy, you live at Disney. Do you not have tickets? No, we don't actually. Eric and I did not renew our annual passes because Candidly, as I've said before, I love to share and show a lifestyle to you all that you get to enjoy, but my life is too busy, and Eric and I never really got to enjoy it. So it's a lot of money to pay for annual passes to never go. So our dear friends, neighbors, and clients gave them passes. So they got to spend a day at Disney. They went to the Magic Kingdom, got their beautiful picture. Easton Road, It's a Small World, and I think Winnie the Pooh, and The Little Mermaid, and got to watch the parade. So he had a lot of fun. They had a lot of fun. I let them have a nice little family day out at Disney. Just so perfect. I love that picture so much. It's so good. And again, special thanks to Brian and Megan for the passes. And we'll have some pictures of Elsie's birthday and Elsie's Disney trip here coming up in the next few weeks. But I just can't believe they're a year old. It's like, I don't know where the time went. I mean, you were all with us. You remember when I think Eric I think it was Alyssa, when Alyssa was at the hospital in labor, and Eric did coffee time, and I tried to chime in. Is that right? That was Boo Boo. Okay. Anyway, so it's just kind of crazy to me that a year has passed. It seems like yesterday that they said they were pregnant, and then all of a sudden there's the baby, and it's really been quite a whirlwind. I wish Eric was here to see them grow like this, but I know he's watching over them, and I'm so grateful that he was here for all of that, and that he was, relatively healthy, unknowingly not healthy. Does that make sense? Yeah. When they were born and those first few months, because it was kind of blissful to be grandparents for Mimi and Poppy for a while there. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, aren't they stinking cute? Oh my goodness. I just love it so much. Okay, so let's move on. I got some other stuff just listed. Okay, so Allie was telling me something. I'm going to have to look at some more things here in a minute. Oh, wait, I think I know what it is. I see it now. I have another picture to show you. Anyway, current listings. I actually have another one coming on the market this Friday. Photographer will be there Wednesday, I think. So this very first one, a big one, that's actually mine, guys. That's my house. Davenport with a pool. We have some lot of really good activity on that one here in the past little bit. We have a buyer that's interested. Hoping that, I think they said that it's their favorite. Family was arriving yesterday. They would like to see it again on Wednesday. So cross your fingers that we get that one sold. Hawksmoor, one story, same thing. We have, actually that was the one that has Wednesday. Anyway, lots of activity on those. The Winter Garden, one story. We have, that's the 3-car garage, the Ashby Floor Pen by Pulte over at, Lakeview Preserve. Kissimmee and Kindred also have somebody interested in that one. So cross your fingers that all of these end up going under contract. Groveland, same thing. I know we're anxiously waiting for someone to snatch that one up. There's just a lot of a lot of inventory at the moment, and so back when we were talking about potentially an aged inventory and or an aged listing, how long, a home has been on the market for X amount of time. The average days right now, I believe when I looked at it just the other day, we're pushing 60 days as the average days on the market. I think it was like 58, 59. And that's for Orlando in general. So it's not specifically targeted to Winter Garden or to Claremont or to Mineola. It is Orlando as a whole, but you can see that the average days on the market is increasing, and it's because there's a lot of inventory. The buyers have a lot of houses to choose from. And so that makes it a little bit more difficult. Okay. And then Allie said there was the Cup Extra, right? Okay. Let me pop this picture up. There we go. Yes. Thank you. I knew I was missing something. So back to Easton's birthday. Let's go backwards. That's how my brain works. All right. So the other thing we wanted to point out, and I don't know the name of this, but in Korean culture, they do a first birthday. They wear their traditional hanbok. Okay, I said it right. Woohoo! That is actually from Korea. Hong's parents, when they visited Korea, brought that back for Easton to have his very first birthday. Oh my God, he was so stinking cute. His traditional hanbok. And hanbok, I just want to make sure I say it properly. But they have a tradition which I think is amazing. So they take all of these different toys or these different objects and they lay them around, whether it's in a circle or just scattered or if it's in a line, all of these different items. And the baby crawls or toddles over to them. And whichever item they are drawn to and they pick up first is supposed to be an indication of their career path. And Easton was very cute because you can see here in this picture, he's picking up this little gavel, which indicates lawyer, judge, something in the legal field, which doesn't surprise me. He also picked up a baseball, which was, I think that was the second thing he picked up, maybe, I can't remember. And that indicates, athlete. So, but anyway, aren't they adorable? I just think they're so cute. And so yes, Allie and Hong and Easton had on their traditional hanboks. And then, there's a picture of Easton, just so stinking cute. Honestly, I can't stand it. Okay. Okay. So let me go back over here. All right. Let me see. Where am I? Oh, word.
Oh, now come on, Amy, tell me what's the word.
Okay, affiliated. All right, so I actually had a question the other day, and I know let me try that again. Okay, I know that you know what the word affiliated means, but it's important to kind of know sometimes when and let's just use new construction as an example. Because this is really where you're going to see a lot of these disclosures at closing. Let's just take a really big builder, okay? And I'm not even going to say it. Well, just D.R. Horton, for example, because they're a really big builder. They build all across the country. So some of these larger builders, as we already know, we've talked about things like preferred lender, which is like their in-house lender. So some of these larger companies they sell houses, they build houses, and they sell houses. But they also have the lender mortgage part of it. And then they may also have a closing or a title company that's also under that same corporate umbrella. They may even have a homeowner's insurance company or an affiliated company with them, all under that same corporate umbrella. And so many times you are going to see all of these disclosures that say, hey, this is just a disclosure saying that that ABC Title is affiliated with 123 Builder. And then here's another disclosure that says, this is just disclosing that DEF homeowners insurance is also associated with whatever builder. So when they are affiliated with, or if they are under the same corporate umbrella, you may get a lot of these disclosures that are going to just basically let you know. A lot of you already know that, but I had someone ask recently about that. And it is important to know. We've talked about the builder's preferred lender, and should you go with them? Should you use an outside lender? And we've talked about that before too. It's just important that you know and that you understand. And it's important legally, contractually, that they have disclosed that to you, so that you know that when you're buying a home from this really big builder, that they're getting the home, they're getting the money from you buying the home. They're getting the money from the mortgage part of it because they're gonna service the mortgage and the loan, and they're gonna get the money from the title company. So any of the closing cost fees and the title fees also kind of goes to the same company. And if they also happen to have some type of homeowners insurance, or if they shop it out for you, sometimes all of those things are important just for you to know. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not shady. It's not sketchy at all. In fact, it's pretty stinking convenient to have it all under the same corporate umbrella. Usually all of those wheels, I talk it like a gear shift, where you have all of the different gears and they're all, when they're spinning and all of them are spinning properly, that should be the way it is when you're with a big builder and they have all of these little subdivisions of their company to help assist in making the home buying process smooth and easy. It should be that way. And so I wouldn't shy away. I wouldn't be scared about that at all. It's just that it is important for you to know, because sometimes you're like, well, I didn't realize that the homeowner insurance company was actually done through this builder too. Is that like okay? So it's just important to know. So you will get those disclosures, and they do have to disclose that to you, but don't be scared of that. They're just making sure that you're aware. Okay, let's see what else we got going on. You guys are all talking about Epic Universe over here. You are having a whole side conversation. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. You guys are all so cute. I love it that you guys are having fun. All right, let me scooch on over here. Wow, we're doing pretty well time wise. Let's do what I'm watching. Okay, so what I'm watching now is Joe Pickett, and I have to tell you, I'm so excited because when Alyssa did this slide here, the screen, I just saw that it says new season coming June 4th. I did not know that. I only finished season 1 just the other day, just starting season 2, I guess. So I didn't know there was going to be a season 3. So that's kind of exciting. If you know me, right? I love really long stories. It just gives me something to look forward to. It's like reading a good book, I guess. You just kind of don't ever want it to end. So I'm enjoying it. It's not my fave of faves, but it's high up there. It's definitely something I look forward to going to bed at night and grabbing my Diet Coke and a little snack and going and getting in bed, and dogs all come with me. We're like, come on, girls, let's go night night. And then they all jump up and have my little snack and turn on Netflix, or in this case, Paramount Plus, and watch the series. So anyway, as always, I know you guys do, but let me know which ones you like, because it's always fun to have another one kind of on the back burner. Anyway, okay, so wow, all of you guys are doing this. All right, Amy, you are amazing. Please like and subscribe. Okay, so yes, let's go ahead and put that out there. I'm horrible at this. Here, let's see if I can do the promo. Can I do the promo? Okay, I'll do the promo. Woo, Eric would be so happy. Yes, if you are new, please make sure you like. Please make sure you subscribe if you are so inclined. All of that is super helpful. You guys are truly a very important part of Heart and Home Orlando, of my life. And so thank you for that. I am always, I'm here to talk to you and give information and have our little fun Monday mornings. I don't think of it as business. I don't think of it as marketing. I don't think of it as anything other than I get to see my Monday morning coffee time people. That's where my heart comes from. But at the end of the day, it really would be great if you could help out. We didn't get my video home posted. Did it get posted yet? Okay, post this Wednesday. So this Wednesday, we had to wait for some drone footage to come in to add to the video, so we were a little bit behind with that. But so my video will post this Wednesday, and then we have another home tour ready to go next week as well. So anyway, so point is, coffee time is still kind of a it is still part of Heart and Home Orlando business and marketing, but I don't think of it as that. But thank you guys for reminding me and reminding each other to like it and to subscribe. So I do appreciate that. All right. Is there anything else that I missed? We have no critters this week, although love bugs are out and about again. I do have a picture of that. Maybe we'll share that one next week. But I think I got everything. Did anybody have any questions that I didn't already answer? Let me go see if I can do that up here. I honestly haven't searched for questions in forever. So, and I think the ones I got were, those are the other ones I got. That was Grateful Drifter. What if the house has been on the market? So anybody have a question, you could just let me, hold on. I just hit something. It's okay. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Anyway. All right. So what I'm going to do now then is we are going to, I guess, wrap it up for this Monday. I'm going to probably nuke my coffee. It's got a little bit cold here. Love this mug so much. Anyway, so keep your questions. If you've got them for this week, this is your homework, friends. Your homework is to think of some questions for Amy. Okay. Help me out here. Help me out. Help a sister out. Think of some questions, have them prepped and ready for next week. That's really helpful because I know then I can answer questions, things that actually matter to you, and I don't feel like I'm just kind of rambling on about stuff that maybe you don't care about. That is actually really helpful. The whole reason I do this, is to help you to convey information, to provide some some information and advice maybe sometimes, but also just to kind of share with you kind of what's going on in our little world here. So anyway, on that note, guys, I'm going to go ahead and hit the little wrap button and just remind you guys how much I sincerely appreciate you being here, every Monday. Some of you are just here all the time. You send me text messages or Facebook messages separately outside of it. It means the world to me. And again, congrats to Liverpool. Huge, huge, huge thing. And I know Eric is absolutely beaming. So with that, my friends, I'm going to push the end button and I'm going to let you guys know how much I really appreciate you. Please stay safe, stay well. Remember, I love you. Happy house hunting. Bye, guys.